Today I'll be talking about personal and social development and how too much access to the internet can affect children who are still in this process. Towards the end of this portion of the clip, it says underneath where it got cut off, social development and by Bryn O'Shea, but you can't see that, so that's my bad, that's on me. So a quick rundown of what these developmental states are is personal development is whenever children create and develop their emerging personality traits, eventually learning who they are as an individual. Whenever it's social development, it's whenever children begin to understand their fellows, develop productive social skills and interpersonal relationships, and internalize their society standards for behavior. So the first thing that we're going to focus on is temperament, which is something that's unique to all children. And this is just how you respond or deal with your environment or situations. So temperament that does appear early is activity level, ability, self-control, persistence, adventurousness, outgoingness, shyness, fearfulness, irritability, and distractibility. So, although temperament can definitely be environmentally based, it is definitely to do with genetics as well. So, a lot of kids get the same temperament that their parents had. Something that's really important whenever it comes to temperament is influencing behavior. So, if you're like, oh my gosh, you're amazing, then the kid's gonna be like, oh wow, I'm awesome. Then it's going to change the way that they feel about themselves, and they're going to be like, wow, I can honestly do anything. And then it's going to influence the environmental circumstances. So it's going to make them want to be more friendly, it's going to make them want to be more social and different things. But overall, this affects their personal and social development. So you'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm a superhero, I'm like a champion, this is awesome. The way this affects children can also be seen in the classroom, but if they aren't being influenced to have rewarding behavior, this can definitely backfire on their confidence. Another skill that's really important for children to develop is effortful control, and this is the ability to stop certain impulses or behaviors in order to think and act productively. Family dynamics are also important when a child is developing because this can either hurt or help. So when attachment forms with a good supportive parent style, they help the children develop into amiable, confident, and independent children. Kids who aren't close tend to develop into immature, dependent, and aggressive later in life. Culture is very important because it is a process called socialization. This helps children adopt certain behaviors of the society and culture. When the expectations of their society and school are different, then it causes culture shock, and this can cause confusion, distractions, or irritability. Sense of self, which is knowing who you are, can also cause confidence, which is very important. Other factors of personal development that are important are goodness of fit, which is your natural inclination and typical behaviors are similar. And another one is self-efficacy, which is knowing where you are in terms of what you can succeed in and what you can't. Another important aspect is identity, which is a self-constructive definition of who they are. The big 5 traits is something that everyone has. They can either lack in it or have excess of it. So openness is to appreciate new things, conscientiousness is careful and orderly, extroversion is talkative and social, agreeableness is agree and go along with others, and neuroticism is the tendency to experience negative emotions. In the theory that Erik Erikson created of the 8 stages of child development, it talks about trust versus mistrust, autonomy versus shame and doubt, initiative versus guilt, industry versus inferiority, identity versus role confusion, intimacy versus isolation, generativity versus stagnation, integrity versus despair. And with all of these, it goes with a specific time in a person's life where they're supposed to appear. And so by the end of someone's life, they should have completed all of these. So now I'm going to talk about personal and social development whenever it comes to too much access to a computer and how it can be bad but also good. So it can be good because the internet and social media is a huge part of the world today. Although this is true, it has also been proven that children who have accessibility to a computer have increased impulsivity, narcissism, and aggression. Another issue is how children develop an understanding for life online to be the same as real life, which is far from the truth. It also causes children to think that the amount of friends that they have online is equal to the amount of friends they have in real life. But if it's going the opposite way, if they have little friends, then they feel very unconfident and bad about themselves. Another thing that is hard for children to understand is that things that are normal online are not necessarily normal in real life. They need to understand the difference between what their society expects and what the internet expects. Although the internet can be bad, if the children's time is limited and they are watched carefully, it can be a good thing. The reason why some children need to be watched when they're online is the content can be very explicit and not meant for their age. And this causes many children to question who they are, what is normal, and what is right. This causes a lot of issues in identity, especially whenever you're a developing child. Overall, not everything about the internet is bad, but not everything is good. In this way, we should just be careful about what we're allowing children to see and if it's really necessary.